Okay, let's resume. Listen, okay. As far as your documentation is concerned, documentation is covered by SA 230. Documentation, in other words, you can also say is nothing but working papers. Now, when you people talk about documentation, what is the need for documentation? Need for documentation is basically two things. What two things? I hope realize it helps the auditor basically to make a conclusion of whether the financial statements are showing a true and fair view or not. And obviously, it acts as nothing but an evidence for the auditor's work, whether the auditor's work has been planned and performed properly or not. So basically, it is conclusion, and second is nothing but evidence. Thereafter, ultimately, when you talk about documentation, can I say documentation is basically recording of information? When you people record information, I hope realize you will basically record three things. Which three things? The procedures performed, the evidence obtained, and the conclusions made. These three things are really important. Trust me, if you remember, this three major part of documentation will be answered. So first is the procedures that you perform, who perform what procedures when. Thereafter, ultimately the evidence whatever you obtain, example confirmation from debtors, etc. And lastly the conclusions whichever you make, whether it is with respect to ICS, with respect to management, with respect to FS. Thereafter, ultimately, I hope realize what are the benefits or what are the purposes of documentation. Benefits are very simple. I hope it acts as an evidence. It helps in future audits, so it acts as a future reference. It basically assists the engagement team to carry out the work. I hope because the engagement team may include assistants, they don't know how to carry out the audit, so this will help them out. Apart from that, it helps to plan the audit. It makes the assistants accountable for their work. It includes basically something known as query sheet. Acha. Thereafter, ultimately, what should be the content, the extent of nothing but your documentation? Your extent depends on various factors. One of the factors we can say size and complexity of the organization, reliability of the books of accounts and records, the ICSs which is there, the nature of the business which is there. Apart from that, relevance of audit evidence obtained. Okay. Apart from that, I hope realize we had also done one additional question as to what does auditor not include in documentation. If you remember, he does not include basically four things. Which four things? Come on, yeah. Correct. Firstly, incomplete records, duplicates of documents, preliminary thinking, and something which is corrected for typographical or other errors. So all these are included in the documentation or not included? Not included. Correct. Thereafter, if you people remember, we had discussed about audit file. Audit file was also decent. Wait, this is not yours. Hmm. When you people talk about audit file also is nothing but a part of your documentation only. When I say it is a part of your documentation, basically I hyperlize audit file. If you remember, there'll be paper. There'll be so many documents. I hyperlize all these documents. How can the auditor basically use it if at all they are lying helter skelter? So ultimately the auditor will assemble all the documents in a particular file that will be known as audit file. So obviously there is a time limit for assembly of the audit file. That time limit is told by me? No. It is told by ICAI. Under which SAR? SQC1. What is SQC1? Standard on Quality Control 1. And what is the time limit? Correct. It is nothing but maximum 60 days from the date of auditor's report. If you remember, when I say date of auditor's report, it is basically the date on which the auditor signs. All cool? Acha, can it be less than 60? Yes. Can it be more than 60? No, correct. Thereafter, when you people talk about nothing but working papers, it is whose ownership? Can I say it is the ownership of the correct auditor? It is a property of the auditor. It is not the property of the management. So can the management demand the working papers from the auditor? No. But if the auditor so wants to share his working papers with the management, can he share? Yes, but only at his own discretion. Is this okay? Acha, it means the auditor is under an obligation, no? No. Can I say auditor is under no obligation? If he wants, he will share. If he wants, he will not share. All cool? Okay. Thereafter, retention of working papers. This also was simple. If you people remember, ultimately, once you people make the audit file, I hope that you don't have to discard it. You don't have to delete it before the retention period is over. Now, this retention period, which is given, again is given by ICAI under same essay. Which standard? SQC1. Acha, what is the minimum retention period? 7 years from the end of audit. Acha, can it be more than 7 years? Yes. Can it be less than 7 years? No. Can it be equal to 7 years? Yes. So be careful. This is greater than or equal to 7 years. And if you people remember, this is less than or equal to 60 days. So this is maximum 60 days file should be ready. And this is for minimum 7 years that you should retain the working papers. Thereafter, we had done something about completion memorandum. This also is very simple. When you talk about completion memorandum, I told you it is basically a summary of nothing but I hope it is a very large or a complex audit. For a simple example, for a very large subject or a large chapter, you people may make summary notes, correct? Just like you people make summary notes of a particular chapter. Why do you do so? So that you people have that quick referencer. So you refer that and you people ultimately know that and you make conclusions. Same will be there with respect to auditor also. For large and complex audit, he'll make a summary of two things basically: the significant matters which are there and the conclusions that he draws. Matters simply I hope lies with respect to inventory, fixed assets, net profits. On the other hand, conclusions maybe with respect to ICS, efficient, inefficient, management, reliable, not reliable, risk of material misstatement, more or less. So whatever is nothing but the significant matters and conclusions that he makes, he will make a summary. Such a summary that we people see is known as completion memorandum. All cools? All cools. Acha, talking about audit file, I told you, if your audit is a recurring audit, what do you mean by recurring audit? Recurring audit is a one-time audit or again and again? Again and again, correct. So when the audit happens again and again, such type of audit is known as a recurring audit. So if you people appreciate, there'll be so many audit files, no? Audit file, audit file, audit file, audit file. Now I hope realize, is it good to have so many files? No. I hope realize lesser the number of files, better the utility. So many number of files makes it difficult for the auditor to even utilize the files. So what the auditor will do, in case of a recurring audit, he will classify the audit files into two categories. One, permanent audit file, correct. And the second one, current audit file. Whatever is past in nature will go in permanent. And whatever is nothing but current year in nature will go in current file. And therefore, we people have done contents. Contents of what? Correct. Contents of permanent file and current file. You remember? Acha. Now, just to give you that answer, wait. See, if you remember, firstly, the contents of permanent audit file, MOA, AOA, important legal documents, agreements, minute, audited financial statements of previous years, analysis of significant ratios and trends, accounting policies, observations of earlier years, AS and ICS. Current audit file, everything of the current year, reappointment letter, audit program, which is a plan basically. Today we are going to do that question. Audit notebook, minutes book, communication with other auditors, experts, transactions, balances, NT of audit procedure. All cool? Okay. Thereafter, what we had done was nothing but a concept of true and fair view, or the general considerations for verifying true and fair view. See, firstly, you tell me the definition of true and fair view. There is no definition. Correct. It means, can I say true and fair view cannot be defined? Reason. What may be true and fair for me may not be true and fair for you. I may think that what management is telling is correct. You may think that same thing is wrong. So eventually true and fair view is a definite term for everybody, or it is something which is a relative term. It's a relative term. Since it's a relative term, it depends. It depends from person to person, case to case. So ultimately, since true and fair view is not definite, there is no definition. Talking more about true and fair view, obviously auditor has to check the financial statements. Then he has to make a conclusion whether they are showing a true and fair view or not. So he has to consider certain factors. What all he will consider? See, he will consider these 7 factors. Which 7 factors? Assets and liabilities should neither be overvalued nor should be undervalued. They should be properly valued. Perfect. Thereafter, no asset should be omitted. No liability should be omitted. All the accounting policies which are selected should be consistently followed. Okay. Charge on assets, if any, should be disclosed properly. What do you mean by charge here? Mortgage types, correct. If the company has taken any loan, etc. Thereafter, the format of the financial statement should be as per FRF. What is FRF? Financial Reporting Framework. If you people remember, for a normal company, it is nothing but Schedule 3 of the Companies Act. For a banking company, it's a Schedule 3 of the Banking Regulations Act. So ultimately, you'll have to follow the financial reporting framework to make the financial statements. And lastly, any non-recurring or exceptional items should be disclosed separately. Simple example. Correct. If you remember, loss due to earthquake, loss due to nothing but I hyperlize fire. Apart from that, I hyperlize one-time gains like lottery winnings, etc. It is not a recurring expense or recurring income. It is a one-time expense or a one-time income type. All cools? Thereafter, I just told you, if all these factors are majorly followed, then we say there is true and fair view. If all these factors are not majorly followed, then there is no true and fair view. Okay. Thereafter, we people had gone to this standard on auditing. If you remember SA 505. When you talk about SA 505, obviously we had done this. Apart from this, see, this is left is what I'm telling. This extra question I did not do. This is left out. This will do it today. Firstly, when you talk about what is external confirmation, if you remember, it is nothing but a direct written response of the third party to the auditor. Should the management intervene? No. See, if the management will intervene, it means that ultimately the reliability of the representation will be lesser. You cannot rely that on confirmation. Acha, why do you do external confirmation? To obtain correct audit evidence. Arey yaar, everything is linked. Yeah. If you people remember, we had done one question. See this question. Methods or the techniques to basically obtain audit evidence. Now, if you people remember in this C, here there is external confirmation. So external confirmation is actually a method to obtain audit evidence only, no? So ultimately, why do you do external confirmation? Obviously, to obtain audit evidence only. Acha. Thereafter, if you remember the important question, I say important because it's just a bit complex to understand the types of external confirmation. If you remember, basically two types: positive, negative. I hope realize, be careful of what is positive, what is negative. Positive means the confirming party, which is in my example, the debtor, will respond to the request, whether they agree or disagree. So supposing if you are asking for say 5 lakhs, then I hope realize whether in their books it is 5 lakhs or it is not 5 lakhs, still they will respond. Okay, what do you mean by negative? Negative means the confirming party will respond only when they disagree. Okay, it means if it is 5 lakhs, will they respond? No. If it is not 5 lakhs, will they respond? Yes. Now think and answer. When you talk about positive and negative, who will ask for positive and negative? Auditor. Auditor will ask, okay, debtor, please send me a positive confirmation. Debtor, please send me a negative confirmation. So according to that, the confirming party will respond. Acha, in real life, negative should be used more or it should be used less? It should be used less, and it should be used only in certain situations. Which type of situations? See, these are the situations basically. The risk of material misstatement is very low. Correct. Thereafter, what do you mean by that? The chances of fraud are very less. See, when the chances of fraud are less, it's okay if you go for negative. Okay. Thereafter, I hope that there are too many similar or immaterial items. The amounts are very small. Then I hope that even if they don't respond, it's okay. Go to get lost. Acha. ICS is very effective. It means that internal records are reliable, no? So what is written inside the books is reliable. Then you can rely. Then you can go for negative. Next, this to come on past experience. I hope the exception rate is low. What do you mean by exception? Here it is the exception. It is the difference between amount to be confirmed and actually confirmed. So supposing I hope lies in the past, whenever I used to confirm 4 lakhs, he used to confirm 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, he used to do 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, he used to do 6 lakhs. So now there is inconsistency or no inconsistency. So this is known as exception rate is very low. If the exception rate is very low, you can take the risk to go for negative. And lastly, the ignorance rate is very low. Whenever I used to ask, he always used to respond. Then I know this party is genuine and therefore I can take a risk to go for negative. Now do you understand? Okay. Thereafter, ultimately, how to send confirmation. These are the factors which you should consider. Firstly, determine the information to be confirmed. So it is what to confirm. Nextly, select the appropriate confirming party, that is from whom to confirm. Thereafter, design the confirmation request considering following factors. Firstly, risk of material misstatement. Why? So that obviously you can decide whether to go for positive or whether to go for negative. Thereafter, the method of communication, you'll have to decide whether you'll go for written or you'll go for electronic. Thereafter, on prior experience, obviously you'll have to consider why, so that you come to know about the exception and ignorance rate. And according to this, again, you will decide whether you should go for positive or whether you should go for negative. And lastly, you keep on sending follow-up requests. If you requested once, he has not yet responded, then again, you people tell, please, can you now send, because we people are getting late for audit. Thereafter, we had other aspects. Other aspects also were important, 4 marks each. Firstly, what if the management refuse? I hope I see these are whose debtors? Management. So obviously I require information about the debtor. No, I require address, I require email IDs. Only then I can send across. So I asked to the management, batao, what are the addresses, names, amounts of the debtors? Management told no, don't send. So if they tell me no like this, are you going to tell, okay, no? Can I say you'll ask no? Why are you telling me no? So that is known as inquire. That is to ask. Okay. If you people remember, inquiry is here also. See, obviously you are asking to get information. Now what else will you do? So it is nothing but inquire to know the reasons for refusal. Acha. Thereafter evaluate ROMM. Is it a result of fraud? You'll have to check. Acha. Thereafter, if they don't give you proper justification, then you go to the top level. Top level is known as TCWG. But when you go to top level, it is known as you have performed alternate audit procedures. If you remember, in other words, I told it is known as PAP. So what is PAP? Perform alternate audit procedures. Go to top level TCWG, and finally the impact will be on the auditor's opinion. All cool? Important. These now, whatever are these steps, major of the steps are standard steps in all the standard. What? Major of the steps which I told here are standard in all the standards. It means when I do other standards on auditing also now, whenever the management refuse, the steps which are to be taken are majorly same only. So ultimately these steps are really important for you to know. Obviously here the matter is external confirmation. In some other standard, the matter may be different, but eventually the steps are still the same. So I hope as you should always know, if the management refuses, what to do. You first ask to the management, batao, why are you telling me no? Correct. Then you people go to top level by doing PAP, and impact will be on the auditor's opinion. So I hope realize even if nothing is there, this 1, 2, 3, 4 are normally there. All cool? Okay. On the other hand, there are certain factors which create doubt over the reliability of the confirmation. First is unauthorized confirmation. If at all ultimately you receive a confirmation without signature, or say you receive a confirmation from nothing but some wrong email ID, so it is unauthorized. I cannot rely on that because there is a doubt. Management's intervention. Obviously, the debtor had to directly tell to the auditor, but ultimately debtor told to the management first. What a dash! And now management is selling to me. So obviously management can manipulate. No? Doubt over the integrity of the debtor only. Debtor is only fraud. I hope as he has a past track record of being fraud. Now, if he is only fraud, will you rely on his confirmation? So no, obviously it creates a doubt. Acha, next, incomplete information. He is confirming. Okay, we hereby confirm the amount of dash rupees. Array, dash rupees? Is it filling the blanks? They give us proper information. We are not able to justify here. And lastly, delayed response. I'm again and again asking him, debtor, batao, debtor, batao, debtor, batao. But they are not batawing. Now, if they don't batao me, it means obviously they are trying to do something. It means they are trying to settle something. It means they are trying to cover up a fraud which may have happened. So ultimately, if there is a delayed response, there is a all cools. And lastly, we begin with extra question. Wait, don't write. First, let's discuss. Pay attention. Exam question, 4 marks. Mention any 4 areas where external confirmations can be done. Come on, anybody? Give me 4 areas where you can do external confirmation. Yeah, it's not that difficult. Come on. Where all you can do external confirmations? Wow, debtors. Wow. Wow. Debtors. When I say debtors, other are creditors. Oh, wow. Okay. Bills receivable. Okay. Horrible. Outstanding expenses. Okay. Banks is nice. Correct. If the company has taken any loans, etc., or if the company has made any fixed deposit, etc., to verify that fixed deposit, to verify that loan can happen. Valuation of assets. Okay. That is not a confirmation, no, rather. What are you confirming as such? You are verifying, you're not confirming. Confirming is there is something there to be confirmed from somebody. Public deposits, okay. Investments, okay. Customers, yes. Can I say basically, a creditor happened, decades have passed. Creditor answer is gone. See, customers basically, can I say customers to whom goods are sent on approval basis? You understood what I told? For a simple example, say the company has sent goods to a customer. Okay. Now I am the auditor. Now I want to verify whether these goods are there with the customer or not. So can I say I will confirm with the customer, batao, whether these goods are there with you or not. So ultimately I hope realize if there is nothing but sale on approval basis, then obviously goods will be there, no? It will not be there with the company. Acha. Apart from that, you also know something like consignee. Come on, yeah. What if ultimately the company is a consignor? They will have a consignee. Then ultimately goods will be with the consignee. Then ultimately you'll have to correct, confirm with the consignee whether the goods are there or not. So can I say debtors, creditors, banks, financial institutions, and customers with whom goods are lying, and consignee. This was asked in the exam for 4 marks. Difficult? I'm telling you it is manageable. Huh? One more thing. Whenever they ask you this question, no, you first have to write the meaning of external confirmation. I hope you know the meaning of external confirmation. We had done, no? Wait. This one. This part. This meaning. First, we'll have to write this meaning which is there, and thereafter the following are the 4 areas where external confirmations can be done. All cool? All cool. Come on, write the question. See, answer is confirmation from debtors, trade receivables, creditors, trade payables, banks, financial institutions. Why are the other batch people also here? Yeah, many other batch peoples are here. Yeah. Wait, I'll tell to the TT department. They'll remove you. Wait, one by one. And then come now when there is your batch. Yeah. Chumma doing this. Yeah. Arey, when I say point number 1, oi, first write meaning of external confirmation. You will write like this. You have to write the meaning. Hello. You don't have to write like this. Ayo, papa. Lakshay, right after that only. Danya. Like, shut up. Okay. Basically, now in your chapter number 3, what only remains are standards on auditing? It was audit documentation and evidence. No, so that documentation and evidence we have finished. Does the standards on auditing remain in them, whichever are there? So standards on auditing, if I do everything together, then ultimately there is only one person who is understanding, and it's definitely not you. So so ultimately we are not going to do all the standards together. What I'm going to do after this is I'm going to start with chapter number 2, and I'm going to finish that chapter number 2 because it's a very small chapter. And after that, ultimately I will take up the standards on auditing again, a couple of standards. So I will do standards on auditing in piecemeal distribution. I will not do standards on auditing together, because together if it is done, then it is very heavy to understand as such. So we are going to break up and we are going to do, because breaking up is necessary sometimes. Oh, big boss, big boss, big boss. Big boss is here. Where is big boss here? Big boss has never seen himself here. Not like this here. You should ask, no, where are you, big boss? Hana. I know. Today big boss has already come twice, yeah? Big boss is on a roll. Arey, what? Who is big boss? What a question you are asking, yeah. Big boss told you, no, to keep the videos on. You're asking who is big boss? Kya hai Somu ya? Big boss always gives you a task, no? And then runs away. Exactly. Hey, come on, ya, Dania. Okay. Now, the chapter that we are beginning off with is basically chapter number 2, which is on audit strategy, planning, and programming. If you want, first you give the heading, okay? Because then I will keep on talking and you will give the heading. I don't want that to happen. First, you just give the heading, then I will talk. Both of them can't coexist for you. Yeah, first we'll finish off this chapter and then we'll take the break, and then we'll do 2 standards on auditing. Both of them are small ones. One is SA 580, another is SA 570. That is the agenda for the day. We finish this off, then we finish those 2 standards, and then we say thanks for coming. Now don't copy all this. If you want time to copy, I'll give you later. As of now, you just have to focus properly. Listen whatever I say. When you talk about audit strategy, planning, and programming, obviously there are 3 words to it: strategy, planning, and programming. All the 3 are very interrelated, although you may say one follows the other. Basically, I hope guys, the planning follows the strategy. So firstly, in the head, the auditor will make a strategy. Then obviously he will put it on paper. So that becomes the plan. And whatever is his plan, that is actually known as audit program. So basically plan and program as such is nothing but one and the same only. But yes, one thing is for sure. First you make an overall strategy in the head. Once you make a strategy, thereafter ultimately you people put that on paper. That becomes your plan. Acha. Now, planning is something which is not new to you. We have done planning before also. When did we do? When we did chapter number 1, and there was BPGA. If you remember, in BPGA, there was Andu Pandu Dhundu. Andu was audit evidence. Pandu, if you remember, was planning, and Dhundu was documentation. In the last chapter, chapter number 3, I hope guys we have already done Dhundu documentation. We have done Andu audit evidence. What we are doing here is now Pandu, which is planning. Now, my simple question: should the auditor make a plan? Yes. Why? To complete the audit in a which and which manner? Timely and efficient manner. So for the auditor to complete the audit in a timely and efficient manner, it is necessary for the auditor to make a plan. Now think and answer. Huh? When I say auditor should make a plan, should the auditor only have one plan for all the companies? No. Can I say he should have separate plan for separate clients? Why? All clients will have the same business? No. So ultimately, can I say all the clients will have different businesses? So different businesses, different plans. So can I say the plan of the auditor should be based on the knowledge of whose business? Of client's business. It means, can I say, listen carefully, definitely there are certain factors which auditor should consider, no, before he makes a plan. Similarly, there are certain factors which he should consider when he makes a strategy. Now, focus here. When you talk about planning, planning is basically a two-step process. One, first you people make a strategy, and then you people write that on the piece of paper, then that becomes your planning. When you say strategy, what is that? It is basically to make an overall layout. What are you going to do? In other words, you lay out your scope, which areas you are going to cover, etc. Think. And once whatever you think, you people write and execute, that becomes application of the strategy. And that application of the strategy is basically planning. Repeating, when you people talk about planning is basically, I hope, is a two-step process. First, you people make a strategy. Then once you people make a strategy, it is nothing but an overall layout in the head. Who is going to do what work? This is my client. I have to complete the audit on that time for this particular client. Okay, my this assistant is there. I will send this assistant there. I will send another assistant there. So whatever you have in your head, you people ultimately then have that strategy. Then you people execute that strategy on a piece of paper. Ultimately, that becomes your plan. Then you execute the plan and thereafter the decisions. So basically, when I say planning, planning is application of strategy. Now, important to understand, when you are making a strategy, obviously you are also going to consider certain factors. And when you are going to make a plan, then also you are going to consider certain factors. Now, which factors you will consider when you are making a strategy? Very simple, yeah. First, identify the characteristics of the business, characteristics of the client. Simple example. The client which I'm auditing ultimately is into manufacturing business, is into service industry, is into trading business. What business? So whatever is nothing but the nature of the business, I'll have to identify the characteristics of my client. Thereafter, ascertain the reporting requirement. Reporting requirement means ascertain what is the scope of audit you have to do and the time in which you have to complete. For a simple example, scope means I have to audit only the head office of that particular client, or I also have to do the branches of that particular client, or I have to do both of that particular client. Then ultimately that will obviously depend na, whether what are my terms of engagement, whether I'm only the statutory auditor or I'm also the branch auditor. So obviously I have to keep in mind that. And obviously what is the time frame in which I have to complete the audit. So when I say you have to ascertain reporting requirements, you have to decide on the scope and you have to decide on the time. Thereafter, you consider significant factors for that particular client. Example, say if it is a manufacturing concern, can I say then the significant factor becomes a fixed asset? Why? Because for a manufacturing entity, I hope as if it is machine oriented, fixed assets are relevant. Similarly, if I tell you it's a trading organization that you are auditing, then I hope as for a trading organization, stock is very necessary, because I hope as the entire business depends on stock only. And if it is nothing but some normal sole proprietorship, that net profit is important. Then your focus should be on net profit, whether it is properly arrived or not. So basically, I hope realize, depending upon the client, you consider significant factors which you feel is significant for that particular client. Manufacturing, you may say fixed asset. Trading, you may say stock. Other normal companies, you may say net profits. And lastly, and most importantly, you have to decide what are the nature, timing, and extent of resources which are required. Now, basically, when I say resources, what I basically mean here is manpower. When I say manpower, it means the engagement team. When I say team, I hyperlize other auditors, employees, assistants. Hello. So there'll be assistants here. There will be other auditors here. There will be experts here. Can I say together that becomes an engagement team? Now use common sense. My one team, can I say will go for a particular audit, then other team also should go for other audit? Or my one team has to skip and hop at different audits? So I'll have to keep in the head, no, that okay, on this day, this team will go here. Then on some other day, that team will go somewhere here. So ultimately, who performed which work when, that also should be ready. So what resources to use, when to use, how much to use and how to manage. What resources to use, when to use, how much to use, and how to manage. Because see, how to manage means what? If you have sent your team at a particular audit, obviously they have done particular work, no? So you'll review the work, no? By doing a meeting. How much work is complete? So how much is now left? So accordingly, you can decide the next day when you have to go. So basically, when I say you have to manage the team, in other words, what you have to manage is nothing but your audit. That how much audit has happened and how much it is still pending. Repeating. When you people talk about the strategy, I hope a strategy is basically making an overall layout. It is basically defining the scope of audit. Now, obviously, when you people make a strategy in the head, you people have to keep certain factors. What factors generally you keep? You identify the characteristics of the client. I hope it is in the manufacturing business, trading business, the nature of the business, banking business, whatever it may be. Thereafter, ultimately ascertain the reporting requirement. How much I have to audit and when I have to audit. Because obviously, depending on that, I'll have to make my plan. Thereafter, identify significant factors like ultimately I hope realize for a manufacturing entity it may become fixed asset, for a trading entity it may become inventory, for other entities it may become net profit, etc. And lastly, please define the nature, timing, extent of the resources which are required. Resources means basically manpower, the engagement team. What resources will be required, how much resources will be required, when the resources will be required, and how to manage the resources. How to manage is basically you hold team discussions so that you people know that for a particular client how much audit is done and how much is still pending. All cools? All cools. See, sometimes when I will do planning now, you people may feel that planning and strategy seems to be the same thing. It is very similar because there is a very thin line which actually differentiates both of them. So basically it may seem to be similar, the difference. Okay. But can I say they are definitely interrelated? The relationship is definitely they are interrelated. A change in one will obviously bring a change in the other one. Okay. Now talking about planning, think and answer. Huh? When I say planning, plans of the auditor should be based on something. Yes. Can I say primarily it should be based on the knowledge of the client's business? And obviously auditor should have only one plan for all the clients. No. Can I say a separate plan for separate clients? Think and answer. Huh? Think and answer. Planning is a discrete phase or it is a continuous process? Think. Discrete means it's an end. Repeating. Planning is a discrete phase or it is a continuous process? Should go on and on. Correct. Can I say it should go on and on? Perfect. Are you mad? Can I say with the passage of time, if there is any change in any situations, etc., obviously there will be a need to change the plan also. So planning is not something that you plan once and it is over. It is like your inter-CA planning, which you should do also. Even I did when I was an inter-CA student, final CA student. What I did is basically I made Excel sheet because ultimately I hope realized we were doing articleship. So we were at the boss's place, that is client, RCA's office, or at the client's place. So ultimately I hope realize what I did is I made Excel sheets for every subject chapter wise. So for a simple example, say it is auditing, there are 13 chapters. Then I used to write paper 6, auditing and assurance, and thereafter I used to write all the 13 chapters. And thereafter the sources from wherever I have to do. Like ultimately I hope JKSC textbook, then past papers, then revision test papers, like that. So I used to make 3 columns. And thereafter, what all sources I used to finish, I used to manually put a tick with the pencil that this is done. So that then I know, okay, this is left out. So ultimately, I hope realize you people have nothing but that in head. You see, then only you will realize now where you are and what you have to do. Also, I used to have start date, end date. So basically, when I'm going to start this particular chapter, when I'm going to end that particular chapter, obviously every time you used to undergo a change only. It is because obviously it is not going to be followed entirely. Start date may still be there. End date you never know. So end date normally for some subjects to never come also. But then that is how it is. Yeah. You chose CA. Don't look at me like that. So basically you should make a plan like that. But can I say obviously when circumstances will occur, the plans can undergo change. So ultimately planning is a discrete phase or it is a continuous process? Continuous process. When does planning normally start for an audit? Can I say when your previous audit ends and this audit is about to start, new audit, here only the planning will start. Or rather it starts somewhere close to the previous audit ending only. And it goes on and on till your current year audit ends. You understood what I told? So planning is something which begins as soon as your last audit ends, or almost on the same date when it ended, and it goes on till ultimately this current audit will end. This comes in the examination for 2 marks. Can you imagine that? This comes in the examination for 2 marks. That planning is what? Correct. It is not an end. It is not a discrete phase. It is a continuous process. Perfect. Somehow like we are still planning for foundation. Shut up. Foundation, it seems, yeah. What has happened to you, yeah? Acha, now listen, no, listen, no. When you people will plan also, you will keep in mind certain factors, no? Acha, what factors to keep in mind? I'm telling you few factors, but these are not the only factors. There are other factors also. Okay, but yes, just to name a few, listen. Can I say, obviously in the head, you have to keep client's business. You'll also have to keep in mind AS and ICS, how much you can rely. Can I say, obviously, if my reliability is less, I rely less on them. Can I say my procedures that I'll perform will be more? So my plans will change accordingly, no? How much procedures I have to perform. Acha, coordination of work. I hope realize which team member is to be given how much and which work. For a simple example, you are dash, so I will give you vouching only. Correct. Similarly, I hope realize if I have a better dash, then I may give some verification. So which dash is to be given what work? I will have to decide. Apart from that, I hope realize NTE of audit procedures. Now, when I say NTE of audit procedures, you already know, huh? What do you mean by this? What procedures you are going to perform? Correct. Thereafter, when you are going to perform and how much you are going to perform. Now, when I say what procedures, array, you already know audit procedures. What, yeah? Can't you make a link in life at some point of time, yeah? See, if you remember, these are audit procedures we had done. If you remember, compliance, substantive. Compliance was taking ICS, substantive was taking financial statements. Come on, yeah? Dash. Now, if I tell you, think and answer. If I tell you that ultimately the ICS is weak, then which procedure you will perform more? Compliance. Because I hope as if ICS is weak, I'll have to check ICS in detail. So it means obviously my procedures will be more, no? So what procedures you are going to perform, when you are going to perform, and how much you are going to perform. That also should be kept in the mind. All cools? All cools. Acha. Last thing before we mark something, and if at all you want to write this, then later. What are the benefits of planning? Why do you do planning in the first place? Obviously, can I say for timely and efficient completion of audit? That is the first thing, yeah. Effective completion is always there. Acha. Apart from that, come on. What other benefits do you think of planning? Come on, try to tell. One, two. Think. I don't want to, I don't have a lecture where ultimately only I talk here. Come on. Future reference to reduce errors. Fair enough. Cost reduction. Okay. You money minded. Proper utilization of resources. Oh my God. That is something which is standard 11, 12th answer for every question we people knew in earth. Proper utilization of resources. Define what part is given priority. Review and compare is very nice. Akshaya, very nice. It helps to review. Ease in performance of audit. Okay. Planning will help achieve the goal. Okay. Attention to important areas is perfect. Very nice. Priyadarshini. Okay. Control. So, Somu, you are telling me to control, or control is something which is an advantage? Acha, choosing the best course of action. So you planned your career and you chose the best course of your life. Huh? Acha, thereafter consistent, monitor progress. Monitor progress is very nice. Plans help in controlling, correct. Fair enough. See, decent answers, yeah. Not bad, yeah. It helps to avoid tension. Shut up. Evaluate the corrective action to know how to improve. Achieve the result perfectly. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Now all the English skills are coming out. Helps to find the alternatives available. Decent answers. Listen, can I say it obviously helps to resolve or solve the problems on timely basis, if there are any. Can I say it always helps to nothing but select the engagement team? I hope realize I have to decide na coordination of work, which member is to be given what work. So it helps to select the engagement team. Apart from that, correct. It helps to nothing but reduce frauds and errors. Okay. Not exactly though. Come on here, anybody else? No, they are simple. These are only the ones. Setting standards. Okay. Which standards? Yeah. No. Correct. Arey Baba. When I say timely and efficient completion, so it helps to complete the audit on time will come here only, no? I have to write 2-3 times time. Or neither. Correct. It helps to see, this is important. It helps to focus on correct important areas wherever the auditor feels that checking has to be more. For a simple example, if you remember, once I had given you an example of ICS for stock. Say for a simple example, there was no stock record, or say ultimately there is no storekeeper, or say there is no CCTV cameras inside and outside the godown. So can I say ICS for the stock is very weak? So ultimately, since ICS for the stock is very weak, that becomes an important area for the auditor to check. That ultimately whether stock theft is possible because there is no ICS. So ultimately, stock is an important area where checking should be more. So planning always helps to identify the important areas whichever the auditor needs to check. Manageable. Manageable. Come on, answer now. Wait. Okay, okay. It monitors deviation, everything. Okay. Come on, now answer. Firstly, when you people talk about nothing but planning, can I say it is a one-step process or basically two? Basically two. Can I say first is strategy, other is planning? When you talk about strategy, what is strategy? Strategy is to make an overall layout. It basically defines the scope. Acha. Now, when you people make a strategy, do you have to keep in mind certain factors? Yes. Basically, how many factors? Four. Come on, tell me. First is identify characteristics. Next, ascertain reporting requirements. Next, identify significant factors which are there. And lastly, NTE of the resources which are to be used. This is very important. Resources. On the other hand, when you people talk about planning, think and answer. Planning should be based on the knowledge of the client's business. Yes. Auditor should have one plan or various plans. Various plans. Acha. Thereafter, when you talk about planning, can I say it is an application of the strategy? Yes. Planning is an end in itself. It is a discrete process. No. Can I say planning is a continuous process? It should go on and on. Normally begins with the end of the previous audit and the beginning with the current audit and continues till the end of the current audit. Acha. Thereafter, do you have to consider certain factors when you are basically planning? Yes. What are the certain factors? Nature of the client's business. Correct. ICS and AS, coordination of the work, NT of the audit, procedures. Thereafter, ultimately, are there any benefits of the planning? Yes. Can you name a few? Correct. It helps in timely and efficient completion of audit. It helps to nothing but solve the problems on a timely basis. It helps in the selection of the team which we have to select, so coordination of the work, and it helps to identify significant audit areas which require attention of the auditor. All cools? All cools. Acha. Now, this you never forget, huh? Resources for strategy and procedures for planning. How to remember? Don't get confused. PP, no. So procedures will always come in planning only, but resources will always go in strategy. All cools? All cools. Come on, textbook, please. Acha, by the way, oi. Audit evidence was which standard? Audit evidence, you remember? SA 500, correct. If you just check, see, audit evidence was SA 500. What about documentation here? SA 230, we are done. Acha, Pandu also has standard. When you talk about planning, planning is covered by SA 300. So when I say Andu, Pandu, Dhondu, Andu was audit evidence, 500. Pandu was planning, which is 300. And Dhondu was documentation, which is 230. So 500, 300, and 230. Okay, come on. Where will you come? Textbook. Come to the textbook, yeah. Hmm. Audit strategy, planning, and programming. Please tell me the page number which is there, because for me, obviously, you know how it is. Page number 47, as per some assumed to be reliable sources. So rude, yeah. Okay. In that, firstly, is nothing but audit planning. Not this important. Auditor should plan to enable him to conduct audit in an effective. efficient and timely manner. Plan should be based on the knowledge of the client's business. Obviously, among other things you should consider, right? So these are the factors which you should consider. Don't do it from here. I will tell you from where to do. You just put a curly bracket like this and keep it. Someone like, why? Why? I'll tell you, huh? You relax. Thereafter, see, this is essay 300. Planning and audit of financial statements further expounds. What is expounds? Expands. Elaborates. According to it, planning is not a discrete phase of an audit, but rather a continual or iterative process. Iterative, continuous only, which begins when, shortly after or in connection with, the completion of the previous audit, and it continues until the completion of the current audit. I hope you followed. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Thereafter, the auditor has to consider something. This I'll tell you later. Again, curly brackets. So we have two curly brackets. Thereafter, we have audit planning benefits. Important. Benefits are helping the auditor to devote appropriate attention to important areas. Thereafter, it helps to resolve problems. Thereafter, it helps him to organize and manage the audit. In other words, control the audit, as some people were telling. Some. Thereafter, it helps in the selection of the engagement team. Thereafter, direction and supervision of the engagement team. Helping the auditor is everywhere similar only, you know. By the way, this audit planning benefits comes in the examination for 4 marks. This comes in the examination for 2 marks, correct, incorrect question. And this is just the meaning. Danya. Acha. Now, see, why did I make you write like this curly bracket, curly bracket? Can I say obviously auditor has to have certain factors in the mind when he's making the plan? Now, these are also those factors. These are also those factors. In fact, there is one question which is only on those factors. Where is it? Wait, come to last point here in your textbook, which is, I think, point 10, if I'm not wrong. This point number, point 10. Mention the factors to be considered in the development of an overall audit plan. That's the last point, right? In that chapter. Can you tell me that page number? Page number 54. Come there. Mark this, very important. Now be careful. Huh? These are the factors to be considered for making a plan. Obviously, there will be factors for making a strategy. That is different. That we will see later. First, we are seeing of this planning because we have started discussing planning first. Here. In the answer, the planning was given first. No, that's why. Acha, now see, there are so many factors. This comes in the examination for 5 to 6 marks. You are expected maximum to know 8 points. Okay, first you can do one thing. You read whatever are the 15 points. I will give you my best marking of 8. But first, at least read. They're very simple, yeah. Your plan depends on what. Come on, read. You don't mark what I'm marking. You read now. Come on, yeah, done, yeah. Can I say major points are very simple here? Firstly, terms of engagement and statutory responsibilities. Why did I say terms of engagement? Because terms of engagement will include the scope. If you people remember, ultimately you have to audit only the HO, only the branch. Can I say according to that, you people will have to make the plan. Next is nature and timing of the reports. Can I say obviously when you people have to give what report, that also you have to keep in mind when you're making the plan. Apart from that, identification of significant audit areas. Can I say whatever areas you people feel are significant, can I say that also should be kept in mind when you are making the plan. Can I say it is very similar to strategy? Very similar. It is not exactly the same though. Thereafter, degree of reliance on AS and ICS. Obviously, if AS and ICS are weak, then obviously we'll check more, vice versa. Thereafter, nature and extent of audit evidence obtained. See, listen now, if you people have common sense, if more relevant audit evidence is obtained, can I say obviously audit procedures performed will be lesser because the relevance of audit evidence is more. More the relevance, lesser the procedures. Lesser the relevance, you will have to obtain more now. So you'll have to perform more procedures. Acha, now this four. Wait, no, Reba. This four no together is a group. Why? You just check. See, internal auditors. This I will anyways tell you later because it comes in chapter 4, but at least you know something like internal auditors. Thereafter, other auditors, experts, joint auditors. If you people appreciate when I have all these four, can I say together it's a group only? So 4 points are very simple for me to remember. Internal auditor, other auditor, joint auditor, experts. Come on, yeah. So that 4 is so very simple. Apart from that, other also I have given you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4. 9 points I have given, more than sufficient. You like others, you can take others, huh? Like statutory requirements are also simple. Accounting policies are also simple. Any new accounting or auditing pronouncement, that is announcement which comes. For a simple example, institute tells you to follow another standard on auditing. Then obviously that also you will have to now filter in the plan, no? That, oh, now I have to follow new standard on auditing also. Like that. Materiality level, I will tell you later. Materiality level is a level above which auditor feels everything is material, below which it is immaterial, so he will not check. Only above that he will check. It is covered by SA 320. Since it is covered by standard, I have not told here. Hey, come on, yeah, done, yeah. Hey, very manageable, yeah. Nothing difficult. Come on. By the way, can I say these are the factors which you should consider for the plan? Now, if you people appreciate, here also it was the same thing only. These two places. I hope realize his plan should be based on certain factors. His plan should be based on certain factors. Come on here. If you actually check, now they'll be the same only. See, check. Obviously, client's business, accounting system, policies, internal control, degree of reliance to be placed on internal control, nature, timing, extent of procedures, coordinating the work. Obviously, we were coordinating the work to internal auditors, joint auditors. Then ultimately, if you see materiality, experts, can I say same thing only? So we don't have different answers. We will keep it same only. So I hope realize we will know only one answer for this particular question. What are the factors to consider? Those are the factors to consider. Correct. So whether it is this or whether it is that, for us the answer remains that only. So write down. Please refer point 10. Which page here it was? 54. Page 54. Here also same. Rotation of emphasis means ultimately you may emphasize on a certain factor first, but that is subject to change also, no? You may think that one thing is important, other thing may not be that important, but that other thing also can become important like that. So ultimately your importance also keeps rotating. So what you emphasize on keeps on rotating. That's the meaning. Come on, you're done. Acha, bus. This is with respect to planning. So in planning, what they will ask you is basically three things possible. One, this part. This part means what? Planning is an end. No. Can I say it's a continuous process? So that is for 2 marks. Next, audit planning benefits. So this will come in the examination for 4 marks. Important areas, resolve problems, etc. Lastly, audit planning depends on which factors or what are the factors to consider when you are developing the plan. Then ultimately this factor. So these are the only questions which they will ask you with respect to planning. Clear? Now let us go on to strategy. Come on. Strategy is just below that. See, next is audit strategy. Come. This is basically your short note. Short note on audit strategy. Which comes in the examination for 4 marks. Now, it is basically the process of establishing overall audit strategy. The auditor has to consider certain factors that we will see. But strategy is what? It sets the scope, timing, and direction of audit and guides the development of the audit plan. It means first the strategy, then the plan. SN is short note, short note on audit strategy. If they ask you a short note, you have to write this. Now, if you people remember for strategy, I told you one word is very important. Which word? Resources. Perfect. So you just have to take that word and answer. Now, when I say resources, see firstly, the resources to deploy for specific audit areas. Resources means here, what resources are to be used? More assistants are required or ultimately experts are required. If there is a complex matter like valuation of land and building, then ultimately I hope I'll have to first decide what resources are to be used. Only assistants, employees, experts also. Thereafter, amount of resources to be allocate means correct. How much to use? Thereafter, when these resources are to be used, it is because you will not have only one particular audit. Now you will have so many audits. So you may have to use the same resources, correct, at different places also. And lastly, how such resources are managed. If you remember, I gave you an example of team meetings, discussions to be done, what audit has reached till what level, so that I can carry forward from there and complete that audit like that. So basically how resources are managed. So if you people appreciate, if they ask you audit strategy short note, there are 4 things only which you should remember. What resources to use, how much to use, when to use, correct. And lastly, how to manage. As simple as that. Interim audit stage is what? Interim audit is like you have not reached the end of audit, you are still in the between stage. So then if you are in the between stage, then you'll have to now check now when to use them again. And when I say key cutoff dates, when are you going to end that audit? That you have to keep in the mind, no, when you are allocating the resources. Hey, come on, Yadania. Okay. And the second question is this: factors to consider when you are making a strategy. Please don't get confused. These are factors to consider when you are making a strategy. If you people remember the last point which was there, those are also factors only. Check. But for planning. So please don't ultimately get confused. It may be similar, but it is not exactly the same. Acha. Here the factors are very simple. They are these factors only which I wrote here. Wait, these factors. See these factors. Score this characteristics, reporting requirement, significant factors, resources. Come see. Firstly, identify the characteristics of the engagement. Engagement means audit. Thereafter, ascertain the reporting requirements or the reporting objectives of the audit. Thereafter, consider the factors that are important, because my team obviously will work there now. And this consider this preliminary engagement activities, I'll tell you later, because that is covered by SA 210. I'll make a link later, don't worry. And lastly, ascertain the NTE of resources. You already know NTE, huh? This in the examination performance. Come on, yeah, manageable. Okay, so basically I hope you realize two questions on strategy. One is the short note if they ask you resources, 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 and other is nothing but the factors. And in that factors, one is the resources only. Other are characteristics, etc. Acha. Now think and answer. What is the relationship between strategy and planning? Can I say they are interrelated? Can I say a change in one will definitely bring a change in the other? Not only that. Uh, is your plan and strategy open to revision, open to changes? Yes, it is, because you people might have made a plan, made a strategy thinking about something. What if that thing only changes? Then plan and the strategy will also change, no? So can I say obviously there may be certain reasons because of which ultimately your plan and strategy will change? Okay, now hear carefully. It means auditor, when he is documenting, if you remember documentation 230, he should document the plan, he should document the strategy. Then if there are any changes made in the plan and strategy, he must also document the reasons why he has changed the plan and strategy. Repeating, what all he should document. Array, we'll have a plan, no? Let's like I have a plan, what I have to do. So this plan obviously will be his document, no? To show to the court of law, see, I was planning audit properly. So his plan, his strategy. Then if I made changes in the plan, then court of law will ask me, no, why did you make the changes? Then what will I tell? Then there has to be some reasons, no, why I changed. So ultimately, whatever are the reasons which made you change that, that also you will have to document. All cools? Come, mark. See, and these are not important exam questions, but just for knowledge, they are there. Relationship, you have to basically come here. 1 and 2. First 3 don't go, because those essays are not relevant now. See, once the overall audit strategy has been established, an audit plan can be developed. So first you have to establish the strategy, only then the plan is developed. To address the various matters identified in the overall audit strategy, taking into account the need to achieve the audit objective through the efficient use of auditors' resources. Thereafter, The establishment of the overall audit strategy and the detailed audit plan are not necessarily discrete or sequential processes, but they are closely interrelated, since the changes in one may result in consequential changes to the other. Danya, this SA 315 obviously we are going to do later since it's standard. Thereafter, now, see, revision of the plan and strategy. Can I say the auditor shall update and change the strategy and the plan as necessary during the course of an audit? As a result of unexpected events or changes in conditions or audit evidence obtained from the result of procedures, the auditor may need to modify the overall audit strategy and the plan, thereby resulting planned NTE of further audit procedures based on revised consideration. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Is Siri talking to me? Huh? This may be the case when information comes to the auditor's attention that differs significantly from the information when auditor planned the audit procedures. So obviously that information was not there before, but he got it later. Example not required. Hey, come on, yeah, manageable, yeah. Shall we go ahead? Okay. And lastly, what we have, this audit program is later, this documentation, which we have discussed. The documentation shall include overall audit strategy, the audit plan, any significant changes made during the audit engagement for the overall audit strategy or the audit plan, and the reasons for such changes. Other things I cannot tell you now. Why? Because they belong to standards on auditing, what he has to document. But this with respect to plan and strategy, we can definitely do it. Then yeah, okay. Now, the last thing that we need to discuss is something known as an, let me have here, I have space, audit program. Now listen carefully. Yeah? One of the very important questions that we have in the examination, it normally comes for 8 to 10 marks, and if at all only one advantage disadvantage asked, then for 4 marks, but overall it comes for 8 to 10. Now listen carefully. When I say an audit program, what is an audit program? Very simple. Audit program in simplest of the words, if I tell you, it is nothing but a timetable. Timetable which is prepared by the auditor to complete the audit in a which and which manner. Correct. In a timely and efficient manner. So if the auditor wants to complete the audit in a timely and efficient manner, it is necessary for the auditor to make a timetable which is known as an audit program. So can I say audit program will help to effectively carry out the audit? In simple of the words, if I tell you in one word, it is nothing but a plan of the auditor. For a simple example, say you. Now, do you have practical knowledge of auditing? No. Do you have theoretical knowledge? Some. So can I say, obviously, you people don't have practical knowledge. Now, supposing I hope if I tell you, go audit at a particular client's place, do you know what to do? See, I may tell you check this and that, but do you know how to do it? No. So can I say every time I'm not going to come hold my finger, beta. Come on, come on, come on. I'll teach you how to do practical audit. Come on, dash, come on. No. I hope realize sometimes you may have to be there alone. Just like for me also. My first day of articleship, I did not go to my boss's place. I went to the client's place for audit. 5th of April. I remember it distinctly. Now imagine first day of my articleship, he sends me for audit. I did not even know A of audit. And he sent me to do entire audit. Now that is difficult, no? When you don't know A also and you have to do entire. Now I hope as he did not come along. He sent me only. Luckily, one employee came along with me. That employee was a senior employee, so he helped me how to do. But after 2 days, he also did not come. So ultimately, thereafter only I was there to do audit. Now, for me, it was very difficult for a reason. You at least have some theoretical knowledge. At our point of time, we did not even have theoretical knowledge because for us, articleship began once we cleared CPT only. So once CPT cleared, articleship started. So ultimately, things like auditing, etc., they used to come at inter-CA, but inter-CA only had not started. But auditing has started. Now, ultimately, I had no clue what to do. So if the boss cannot come along with you, then ultimately, at least he can guide you by giving a plan, no? So then my boss, he gave me a plan. So thereafter, what I did, I read the plan and I carry out the work. I read the plan, I carry out the work. I read the plan, I carry out the work. In other words, basically, can I say it acts as a guide? I hope is how to carry out an audit. Can I say you people will basically get set of instructions from it? Come on, yeah, this is simple. So basically, audit program in simple word is nothing but a timetable which will guide you as to how to carry out an audit. All cools? All cools. Can I say audit program also is nothing but a plan? Who will make this audit program? Auditor. So can I say he has to keep in his mind? Can I say certain factors when he is making the audit program? Which factors he will keep? Correct. Can I say the same factors? These factors. Why? It is because audit program is also a plan. So he will keep in the mind the plan factors only, no. So if I tell you what points he will consider when he is making the program, can I say you'll have to write the same thing? It means imagine this answer, I hope realize is like, I hope it's like a kacha limbu. It is working everywhere. I hope realize it has come in 3 things at least. If you remember, first it came here, no? On the first side only. Correct. Here and here. Thereafter, for the audit program also it is there. All cool? Acha. Now, talking about audit program. Audit program will have some advantages. And it will have some disadvantages. Now, you'll have to start with the advantages. Come on. Tell me. What about the advantages of audit program? What do you think? It acts as a guide. It helps to coordinate the work. Okay. Okay. Routine, no mess. Okay. What an answer. Proper execution. Okay. No chaos. Chaos. तू है chaos. और नहीं तो क्या? Efficiency of work, breakdown, cooperation, sequential performance. Oh my God, sequential performance, it seems. Too much English to understand in those 2 words itself, yeah? Okay. Helps the articles. Look at the answer. Helps the articles lol. Like that somebody is answering. This is how you answer. Helps the article lol. That also with double L. Instructions are given clearly. Okay, fair enough. But helps the articles is correct only. Why you are lolling it? I mean, I know it's actually a correct answer. Uniformity. Okay. Can I say enough clarity? Okay, enough. Can I say it will help you to carry out audit in an effective manner? It will help you to carry out audit and finish it in a timely manner. Can I say it will help you to solve problems if at all there are any? Can I say it helps in coordination of the work? Can I say it basically will act as a guide and give you instruction? It helps to direct the and supervise the work. Oh, you don't have memory. Acha. Can I say, array dash, these are the same things only. Check here, no benefits. Can I say important areas? It helps to resolve the problems, organize and manage, selection of the team. It helps to direct and supervise. Can I say same thing? Yeah. Huh. But now the problem is, you have already found answer to this because it is same as benefits. But you will not find an answer to this because it is not there only. So now this you will have to think out of the blue. What can be the disadvantages of an audit program? Come on. This is where your brains are required now. Come on. Tell me the disadvantages of an audit program. Come on, yeah. Come on. You can do it. Think. If you people have a plan, audit program, what disadvantages can it have? Subject to change, time consuming for making is horrible. Restricts, 8 minutes. Somebody told restricts creative. Who is that? Restricts creativity for own efforts. Ankita, beautiful. Very nice. Very nice. Sometimes it may become rigid. Kavya, very good. Yeah, not bad. Rigidity. Rahul, barabar. Hey, Rahul, you will to answer nice only. Achha. Thereafter, it reduces flexibility. Very nice. Yeah. Incorrect information of timetable. So rude. Who are you telling here? And then it's okay. I got it. Limits the thinking. Limits the thinking is nice. But you should not limit the thinking. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Makes it dependent. Okay. Thereafter differs from practical sense. Okay, mechanical work. Oh, we are very nice here. Mechanical work differs from practical sense. That's very sensible. Reduces people working fast to go slow. Okay. Lack of innovation. Rahul, yeah. So nicely you are answering here, Rahul. Inflexible is nice. Hindrance in the progress. Good. Fair enough. Major answers have come. Good. Lack of innovation, lack of creativity, may create boredom in working. You think it's a lockdown? Change in internal control. No. Assistant relies on planning. Man, very nice. Assistant always rely on planning. In fact, they rely too much on it sometimes. Kind of dominance. Okay. Assistants may become lethargic. Don't look at me when you are telling that. Okay. It restricts the assistant's intelligence. Assistance and intelligence, they go hand in hand. No. Then, okay. Acha, assistance. Okay, fair enough. See, okay, instructions may not be proper. Okay, enough. Listen. Firstly, can I say major answers have come here? Can I say first problem is the plan may become rigid? When I say rigid, can I say it may become inflexible? Now, what do you mean by this? If you have a plan, obviously you made that plan keeping in mind certain situation. What if there is a change in situation? Will this plan work? No. So can I say the plan is not that flexible, that it works in all situations? So that plan is rigid. Okay, so you'll have to keep on updating the plan. So plan on its own is rigid and inflexible. Acha. Secondly, if you people keep on blindly following the plan, okay, supposing you are the assistant, I give you the plan. Okay, Dash, this is your plan, go there and audit. So you people take the plan, you go there and audit. So you know you do only that. Plan, audit, plan, audit, plan, audit, plan, audit. Now I hope is you are working like a machine. Now sometimes certain things require not bookish knowledge, but they require, I hope, like some creativity in the head. That how can this thing be wrong? How can this be like this? So it means you have to think outside the box. You have to think out of the blue. So sometimes you have to have innovation or creativity in thinking. But I hope the plan will not have that. You will have to have that. So if you keep on blindly following the plan, do you have creativity or it lacks creativity? Correct. It means your work becomes like a machine. So work becomes mechanical. And if the work becomes mechanical, can I say it lacks creativity? You can say creativity, you can say innovation. All cool? All cool. Thereafter, two disadvantages are with respect to assistance. Now, firstly, let us talk about you only. So inefficient. Acha, so inefficient assistance. Okay. Now, supposing say you are an inefficient assistant. Okay. So it is as such true also. Now, supposing I tell you, okay, assistant, go and do this work. So basically, can I say you have to do that work? Now, you did not do that work because you are inefficient. You are very lazy. You don't want to do it. So you did not do the work. Then I reviewed your work. I told you, have you done that work? You told me, yes. And you showed me the work. I told you, you have not done the work properly. You know what excuse you gave me? Sir, your plan was already not proper. Imagine. You are blaming my plan rather than the weakness in your work. It means inefficient assistants, they are taking the plan and they are taking it as an excuse. In other words, they are hiding their weaknesses, correct, for the plan. It means the plan is basically acting as a shelter. You understand shelter? Shelter means an excuse. So they are basically taking an excuse of the plan and they are hiding their deficiency in the work. Do you understand? Okay. But I hope it is reverse for efficient assistance. Now, when you talk about efficient assistance, use common sense here. Efficient assistants, though, they want to always do something more, no? But what if I tell to them, restrict yourself to the plan? It means then I hope they have to limit themselves. Can they check something more? No. It means even if they want to take the initiative, are they allowed to take the initiative? No. So can I say the plan, it kills their initiative. So it kills the initiative of efficient assistants. I hope you followed. How many are there? Disadvantages? 4. Come on, tell me the first one. The plans become rigid and inflexible. Secondly, the work becomes mechanical. Mechanical means correct. It lacks creativity or innovation because you are working like a machine now. Thereafter, inefficient assistant, they take shelter behind the audit program. Shelter is excuse. So they are not working properly and they are giving an excuse of the program. Acha, what about efficient assistant? Correct. It kills the initiative of the efficient assistants. All cool? All cool. This is very important. Has come in the exam many number of times for 4 marks. Rather than advantages, also more important are disadvantages. All cool? All cool. Textbooks, please. Let us mark. There is audit program only. Point number 8. This we don't have to do. Cancel, in other words. From here you have to do. Audit program is a detailed plan. Obviously, plan is to apply procedures. Obviously, with instructions for the appropriate techniques for accomplishing or achieving objective of audit. Objective is to give an opinion. Now, points to be considered while constructing a program. What points will you consider? Can I say please refer point 10, page 54, na, if I'm not wrong. Page 54. So you don't have to consider these, okay? Consider those only. Rather than having different answers for bloody the same meaning, have the same answer for different questions. Na, yeah, Sushma. Thereafter, advantages. Can I say please refer? See, if you like here, you can do from here also. It is not like that, but it's the same thing like audit planning benefits. So rather than learning it separately, it is better learn one only, no? Why to learn separate unnecessarily? So please refer. What is that? This benefits is point 2, but which page number for you? Yeah? 47? Hmm. Point 2, page 47. No, where it does not. It does not include. Hmm. And disadvantages is very, very important. Comes in the examination for 4 marks. Work becomes mechanical. It lacks creativity. Thereafter, it becomes rigid and inflexible. Thereafter, inefficient assistants, they may take shelter behind the program. That is, defend deficiencies in their work. Deficiency means weakness of their work. And a hard and fast audit program may kill initiative of efficient assistants. So four things are there: mechanical, rigid, inflexible, inefficient shelter, kill initiative of efficient. What? Come on, yeah, Dania. Okay. So see what questions are possible from this particular thing that we people have done. First was audit planning, that 2 marks, whether it is a discrete phase or a continuous process. Second was audit planning benefits. Next was mention the factors to be considered for making an overall audit plan. 3 things. Thereafter, short note on audit strategy. Thereafter, factors to be kept in mind for making a strategy. Okay. Thereafter, just for knowledge, we had done revision in the plan and strategy and the relationship between plan and strategy. Thereafter, we have done nothing but audit program. Audit program, I hope realize we have done the meaning. Points are same as the development of the overall audit plan. Advantages are the same as nothing but benefits. And ultimately, I hope realize disadvantages are very important, which are for 4 marks, 4 points. All cools? Acha. Now, when you people talk about nothing but audit strategy, always keep in head nothing but I hope realize this part. I hope realize main is nothing but the resources part. Okay, these are the factors only which you should consider. This is a strategy. Planning, obviously not a discrete phase, continuous process. These are the factors which are there, benefits which are there. All done. All cools. If you want, you can take a screenshot of it as such. And if you wish to copy, I can give you some time. That's fine. Shall we take breaks? How much? Yeah, 10 minutes is fine. Oh, 15 now. Why? Yeah, you always want so much. Yeah, it's 11:36 now. 11:50 we'll meet. 11:50 is fine. Go. We'll do standard on auditing once we people come back. Two standards, important ones. Small but important. Come on here, come back. Let's finish the last session here. We have 2 standards to do. Once the 2 standards are done, it's thanks for coming. Okay, listen. Okay. Now, firstly, what we are doing is essay 580, which is on written representation. Now, written representation we have heard somewhere before. Obviously, you people will not remember because you people have FIFO in the head. Can I say you had remembered? We had done this during removal of an auditor. If you remember, ultimately during removal of an auditor, there were 3 types of removal. Removal by BOD, removal by shareholders, removal by NCLT. If you remember, removal by shareholders. Shareholders should give a special notice to the company. Then the company will give us copy of the special notice to the retiring auditor. Then the retiring auditor can justify himself in a written representation and submit that to the company. Then this written representation will be sent by the company to the shareholders. You remember? Now, that written representation, who used to give to whom? Correct. Firstly, auditor used to give that written representation to the company. Correct. So auditor was giving written representation to the company. If you remember, it should not be too lengthy. It should be in brief. If there is something wrong with the written representation, company can make an application to the tribunal. If the tribunal is satisfied on an application, then this written representation can get cancelled. Hello. Acha. Now this written representation that we are now doing, which is covered by SA 580, is different from this written representation. Huh? Now, what is this written representation? This written representation is a certificate. Acha, certificate obtained by whom? Obtained by the auditor from the management. Now, if you people appreciate, it is reverse. Now, I hope this written representation is obtained by the auditor from the management. So now I hope realize the management of the company are giving the written representation to the auditor. Now, do you understand? This written representation that we are talking about is covered by SA 580. Now, when I say it is written representation, what is it basically? It is a certificate. Basically, you may say it acts as an evidence. Acha. Now, basically, why do you obtain a written representation? Firstly, to obtain some audit evidence. So it is to obtain say. What is say? Sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Wait, who is giving to whom? Management is giving to the auditor. Think and answer. Management will give themselves only? No. Auditor will first make a request. Management, written representation. Then the management will give the written representation to the auditor. Now do you understand? Obviously that request can get cancelled also. Management can refuse also. Then what should the auditor do? That we will see later. But first let us understand. Who requested whom? Auditor requested the management. And then the management may give the written representation to the auditor. Then this written representation acts as an evidence. I'll give you a very simple example. Listen carefully. Say for a simple example, company X Limited. I am Mr. R. I am chartered accountant, auditor of the company. Now in the balance sheet of X Limited, on the asset side, they have stock. Can I say this stock is there in the balance sheet? This stock should also be there at the go down. Come on here. Can I say so at the go down, there will be physical verification. Acha, done by whom? Good. Can I say physical verification? Very good. Done by management. Checked by auditor. Whether management is conducting physical verification properly or not. So who will conduct physical verification? Management. Auditor will have to verify whether management is conducting properly or not. Now, say supposing this go down is at a location which is in current times a containment zone. Now, when I say containment zone, can I say there are too many positive cases of COVID in that particular area? Now, I am the auditor. Will I go like this, wearing a PPE kit to do nothing but I hope as physical verification of the inventory? No. Can I say it possesses the threat to the safety of the auditor? What? The location of the inventory, it possesses a threat to the safety of the auditor. So will the auditor go there? No. Now, if the auditor does not go there, will he be able to check the stock? No. So does he have information about that stock? No. But should he get that information? Yes. Then if it is not possible for the auditor to go to the godown to physically verify whether what management have done is correct or not, what should the auditor do? Auditor should request the management to give a written representation. So take in writing from the management that at this godown, whatever is the stock which they have written in the balance sheet is there. And at the end also make the management sign. So that ultimately, even if the auditor has not gone there due to justifiable reason, auditor has proof that yes, I have nothing but proof that management have nothing but written that stock, I am not responsible. So even if later on, supposing this stock, what is there in the balance sheet and what was there in reality don't match, think and answer. Who will be responsible? Management. What is the proof with the auditor? This written representation. Because management have already given me in writing that it was there. Now, if it is not there, I am not responsible. Management is responsible. So can I say tax as an evidence for the auditor? Come on, yeah. See, in most of the standards on auditing, most of the standards, whenever the auditor is unable to achieve sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, he will always go for written representation. Repeating, in most of the standards on auditing, whenever the auditor is unable to achieve sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, what he will always go is ask for written representation. Acha, wait, can I say here he was not able to verify? Only therefore he asked for written representation. Think and answer, think and answer. Say this was not a containment zone. It was a normal location. Okay, we have come to normalcy. Assume everybody vaccinated. Think and answer. Now there is no problem, no? So now the auditor should go no to the go down. Say now the auditor is too lazy. Oh, your lockdown has just gone. Laziness is developed. I don't want to go to the go down. So auditor is telling I will not go. What he did, he did not go to the go down. And he asked the management, written representation. And later on, there is a difference between the stock. Now think and answer. Who will be responsible for this now? Auditor, correct. Can I say now because auditor is negligent now? Because he has not performed his duties properly. So for now, who will be responsible is the auditor. See, it means your written representation is not a substitute to verification. Verification always should come first. Wherever you are unable to verify, then you should take a written representation. But where you are able to verify, you should verify. Then you should not take a written representation. I hope you followed. So written representation, think, is it a substitute to verification? No. Should verification always happen? Yes. If it cannot happen, then written representation. All cool? All cool. Acha. Now, auditor obtains written representation on what matters from the management. There are various matters, although I'll tell you few matters. Which matters are there? Listen. Firstly, what he can do is, scanned with scam scanner. Basically, I hope realize what he can do is, auditor, he should obtain from the management in writing that preparation of financial statements is their responsibility. So who will take on whom? Auditor will tell to the management to give in writing that please give me in writing, it is your responsibility to make the financial statements. So that he will obtain a written representation. So later on, there should not be any confusion. See, management's responsibility, not my responsibility. Acha, next. Auditor should also tell to the management to give in writing that whatever information explanation I have asked, you have given to me. So later on, if there is any information which is discovered, ultimately I should not be responsible for that, because ultimately you already told me that you have given me information. So then I will not be responsible for that undiscovered information. You will be responsible. Acha, next. any other information whichever auditor wants. For a simple example, ultimately he wanted information about stock, no here. So can you obtain that information? Yes. So he can obtain written representation on any other information. But the basic information which matters, he should take a written representation. Give me in writing your responsibility. So I hope that is my proof. Their responsibility, not mine. Give me in writing. You have given me all the information explanation. So they will give you in writing. Achha, thereafter any other information. I want stock because I'm not able to go there. So you give me in writing that stock which is there is nothing but proper. Give me in writing. So in writing. So anything which is required by other standards on auditing, any other information that also I can ask on that particular matter. All cool? All cool. Who is giving to whom? Management is giving to the auditor. So whenever the management is giving to the auditor, the management should address to the auditor, no? And at the end, can I say management should sign? Can I say it should be authorized? Not only that, it should be addressed to the auditor. When should it be obtained? After audit? No. Can I say the written representation should be obtained towards the end of audit, but not at the after the end of audit, towards the end of audit, but before signing the report? Because once you sign the report, obviously your job is done, no? So later on, I hope they may not give you also, no? Because your job is done. Then ultimately, I hope is once you sign the report, then ultimately obligation is finished. Then they may make changes also, or they may not give you also. Then what will you do? So obviously, you have to wait till you sign the report. So obtain the written representation towards the end of audit, but obviously obtain it before signing the report. All cool? All cool. Think and answer. This written representation that I'm obtaining from the management, is it financial statements? If I obtain written representation, supposing I'm auditor, you are management, I tell you, management, written representation, you gave me. So what you are giving me is financial statements? No. Acha, what you are giving me is books of accounts? No. What you are giving me is other audit evidence? Yes. It means you are not giving me financial statements. You are not giving me books of accounts and records. What you are just giving me is other information. So is written representation a part of financial statements? No. Is it a part of the books of accounts? No. Is it a part of other information? Yes. One more thing. Think and answer. Huh? Written representation on its own, is it sufficient information enough? Think, if I obtain written representation from the management, is it sufficient information on its own? No. See, management may give you anything in writing, no? Yeah. Later on, ultimately, whether that stock was actually there or not, how you have not verified, no? So I hope realize you may think it is correct, but I hope as it is not sufficient enough to believe it is right, no? So ultimately, even though management may give you in writing, is it sufficient enough on its own? So how much can you rely on written representation? Should you blindly rely? No. Can I say, obviously, along with that, you should do some other audit procedures also. So written representation on its own is enough or not enough? Not enough. Is this okay? Okay. Now, doubt. Think. Who asked to whom? Auditor asked to the management. Management, batao. Written representation. Say they did not give you. They refused. So you will tell like this, okay, I don't want. No. What will you do? What if they refuse to give you written representation? Come on. I told you this today only in the morning. Come on. What if the management refused to give you written representation? What will you do? Correct. You will have to inquire. Management, batao. Why are you telling me no like this? So can I say you should inquire to know the reasons for refusal? Acha, then what will you do? Correct. Can I say then if they don't give you proper answers, correct, then you will go to top level by doing what? PAP. What is PAP? Perform alternate audit procedures. I will communicate to TCWG and finally impact will be on the auditor's opinion. Acha, think and answer. Who is telling you no? Management. If the management tell you no like this, it means the management is worth relying upon or there is doubt. It means, can I say the integrity of the management, I will reevaluate whether I should rely on them more or whether I should rely on them less, because I am asking for info. They are telling me no. So now I will not rely on whatever you give to me, because now whatever you give to me, that also will be doubtful. So now obviously there will be one more eye which will open of suspicious. So now there will be, I hope as everything I will look with suspicious eyes, because I am asking you, you are telling me no. So now I will reevaluate my integrity on you. You understood what I told? Wait, who's telling no? Management. To whom? Auditor. So obviously you will inquire the reasons. Management, why are you telling me no like this? Thereafter, PAP, top level TCWG, impact on opinion, and reevaluate integrity of the management, whether you can rely on them more or less. All cool? Okay. Supposing management have not signed, but they have given to you written representation. Take it. Take it. Will you rely? No. So ultimately it is worth relying or it is doubtful? Oh, it is very, very doubtful. So if there is no authorization, don't take the written representation because it is of no use only because there is no sign. I hope you followed. Bus. This is written representation. Difficult? I'm telling you, yeah, it is not difficult. Provided you have some. Come on, have a look. See, first let me explain. Later on, if you want to copy, you copy. I'll give you time. Listen first. The objective of this written representation SA580 is to obtain the written representation from the management and TCWG, mainly regarding the preparation of the financial statements. I told you here, no. Basically, preparation of the financial statements. That is one matter. Okay. And obviously to support other audit evidence, which I basically told you in this one, other information, whichever I want. Okay. Now, written representation is not books of accounts, not financial statements. Okay. Written representation should be in paper form, addressed to the auditor, and it should be taken at the end of audit, but obviously before signing the auditor's report. You cannot take it after the report. After the report, I mean, what did you do? Thereafter, when you talk about written representation, is it reliable? No, it is not sufficient enough on its own. I'm taking on its own, yeah. If it is there with something else, then it's okay. Acha, can it substitute verification? No, it can never substitute verification. I told you where verification is possible, first you do verification. Where verification is not possible now, at that point of time, you can take written representation. Acha, can I say it is more of a supporting evidence rather than main evidence? See, it is not the main role in the movie. It is like a supporting role in the movie. Main role are verification, observation. Those are main roles. But when you talk about written representation, when something is not there, then this comes. So it is supporting rather than the main role. Okay. Thereafter, management's refusal, they are telling you no. Then inquire and know the reasons for refusal. Why are they telling you no? Then you do PAP. So obviously you go to TCWG. Reevaluate integrity to be placed on the management, whether you should rely on them or not. And lastly, impact will be on the auditor's opinion. Bus, that's it. Manageable? Come on. You want to copy this? Then I can give you time to copy. Later on, we'll mark it from the textbook. Finish it. Sweta, then I'll give you time later on. You take screenshots of them, no? Somebody wants that audit planning seems. I told you before the break also. In that second chapter now, audit planning, etc., only materiality is left. That is SA 320. That also is standard on auditing. Apart from that, that chapter of planning performance strategy is done. Next time when we meet, we'll take up a short chapter but important one, auditor's report. I think it is chapter 11. Since we have done company audit now, we can do auditor's report. You'll understand. Then if there is any time remaining, we may take one standard, but then main part will be auditor's report when we meet the next time. I think we are meeting next one on Monday, if I'm not wrong. Monday only. No idea. So rude, yeah. You should know, no? Monday only, no? Perfect. Monday and Tuesday. Nice. And Tuesday we'll begin with the big chapter, chapter 4, internal control and risk assessment. Nice it is. Their answers are also very big. Major questions asked in that chapter are for 8 to 10 marks. Internal control. Yeah, but then why to worry? Big answers, obviously, keys will come. Exactly. Refer the key chat, yeah. Start revising. Slowly and steadily, portion is being covered. No. There'll be too many essays. How will we remember them? Such a important question, yeah. How will you remember them? How do you remember everything? Like that only you have to remember them. There's no other option way out. I mean, wherever I can simplify. But apart from that, it has to be learned, has to be learned. No, you are telling I will give such a magic wand where ultimately everything comes in there. I give you a magic wand to an extent. I cannot give keys for everything. No, then in the examination you remember bloody only the keys. And sometimes I wonder that in the examination you will write the keys and come rather than the answer. I know. You're worried about so many essays. In law, you had so many sections. Yeah, there you did not ask how many. How will you remember all many sections? Yeah, huh? Huh. Such a small bloody subject you are telling this. Huh. What about tax? Yeah, how do you remember tax? Yeah, huh? How much I got in tax? No, 40 direct tax. Dot 40. DT has not yet started only. Ayo. You know how much I got in DT at final CA? Again 40. Means both the levels in DT I got only 40. You know, luck factor. What to do? I don't pay more taxes. I don't want more marks. Exactly. Ah, the subjects were nice. Audit, I got 56. I did not get much, but then still okay. Yeah, first attempt. So rude. Huh. My highest was in law, 78. Next was FM. Law was very high. I used to like law a lot because I always wanted to see what I did not want to follow. So I loved law. No way. But other than that, it was a good subject. It gave me marks. Even at final C also, good marks I got in law. Uh, Other than that, the tax wax was so difficult. Luckily, I cleared. That's more than enough. How I got 40 also in that final CA of tax na? Array, you know, sometimes people keep on telling to you, Array, yaar, CA is luck factor should be there, luck factor should be there. Sometimes, you know, it actually is there. Okay. I'll give you an instance of my own personal experience. One day before laws direct tax exam, I was not that much of a tax guy. Okay, I used to know auditing, I used to know FM, etc. Accounts. Taxation was okayish. I was not that great in taxation when it comes to theory, writing, etc. When it comes to practical, it's okay. I know how to save, etc., etc. But then when papers are there, I'm not that good in taxation. So then one on the next day, supposing tomorrow is examination of taxation, on that day I called one of my friends up. Okay, at 1:30 in the night, and I was like, yeah, please can you help me with this particular sum, I don't know how to solve. Okay, and then she started explaining the concept. I was like, see boss, you don't have to explain the concept to me, you just have to tell me how to do this sum. You tell me how to do this sum, all the concepts, etc. I will call you after the examinations are over. You take your own time. We will have a cup of coffee. On cup of coffee, you tell me how to bloody nothing but solve that sum with all entire concepts. As of now, at 1:30 a.m., I have called you just to tell me how to solve that particular sum. That's it. Okay. And thereafter, she is like, okay, I'll tell you how to do it. And then she told me. After she told me, all done. Next day, examination, same question, 6 marks. Same damn question. Now see, this is not luck. You're not understanding what is luck. I called it at 1:30. She told me how to solve it. Same question comes for 6 marks, and then I get 40 in the exam. See, I had not got 55, in which 6 marks belongs to her. I got 40, where 6 marks belongs to that question. So ultimately, I hope as such, I'm indebted to her for those 6 marks. But you know what is the irony of life? See, life, how life is. She failed. She cleared in the next attempt. But then I told thanks. I told both thanks and sorry. Thanks for making me clear, but I was not writing your paper. You helped me. Thanks for that. Exactly. But she cleared in the next attempt, so that's still fine. What's so rude, yeah? Are she cleared? What will I do, yeah? Are you are telling as if I failed her. Look at it on the other side. No, look at it from the other side. She cleared me. That's fine, but I did not fail her. I mean, come on, yeah. That 6 marks she also would have got, no? What if she failed in that? She should have called me, no, at 2 o'clock then. You explain me. She did not call because she knew that I will not be able to explain anything. So rude. That is why I tell sometimes, that luck plays a factor. Imagine then I got 40. Oh my God. I know, yeah. Stories I tell you. Yeah, but I was like so happy to see that 40. Later on I was like, I'm sorry for your not clearing, but then I was happy inside for clearing. Yes, I was just a bit more happy of me clearing rather than her not clearing. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Arey yaar, she helped, so I should also fail. So rude. Or I'm clearing. No, what's your problem, yeah? और नहीं तो क्या? हाँ. No, रे DT. IDT was still okay. DT for me was horrible. DT for me was horrible for a reason that major DT lectures I missed because of my articleship period. During that CPT, we people cleared, no? So then articleship started. We had college, we had articleship, and we had office. Like so many things to do. We should go classes, we should go articleship, we should go to college, and then balancing figure home. So then so much to do here. So then when in CA's office the season comes, season is basically July and September. So when that season comes, we have to be in office. Then we are not allowed to go for classes. As much as we can, we are not allowed. Okay. So then since we are not allowed to go for classes, obviously at that point of time, online classes, etc. were not there. So at that point of time, ultimately recording, etc., we people did not have anything like that. So we had only books, etc. I'm not that old, but still. Okay. Huh. So ultimately, I missed most of the classes. And after missing most of the classes, then I studied on my own only. There was no other option. And when you study on your own, yeah. But at least I got 40, no? So rude. Arey yaar, you are so discrediting my 40. So rude. How I was able to manage college studies and exam and all and classes, it happened here. There's no other option but to manage. When there's no other option, you have to have only that one option, and then finish it off. What else can you do? Luckily, college was not that demanding for attendance that much. So like in a week, 3 days max, or sometimes 2 days. So as such, then college took care of itself. Yeah, but then other things were still there. Yeah. Come on, yeah, done, yeah. Come on, come to the textbook. What are you here to hear my stories? Yeah. Shut up. Come to the third chapter again. See, in this third chapter now, documentation and evidence. If you agree, we have done documentation, we have done evidence. Then we did concept of true and fair view. If you remember, we had done external confirmation and now we have done SA 580 written representation. Come to that SA 580, it is below external confirmation only. From that phone onwards, I always believed, yeah, CA is sometimes about luck. No doubt about it, yeah. That 1:30 a.m. call, I will never forget. Page 80. We were doing articleship together. We were in the office together, working. Exactly. I repeated myself twice. Acha. Now, when you talk about written representation, underline, it is defined as written statement by the management provided to the auditor to confirm certain matters or to support other audit evidence. I was doing articleship in the mid-size firm only. After clearing chartered accountancy, I went to the Big Four, PwC. They do not include financial statements. Assertions, I'll tell you later because there is a concept on there in chapter 9, or supporting books and records. Gopal. Thereafter, form and content. This is the form. It should be in what form, and this is the content. So, firstly, it should be in paper form, in the letter which is addressed to the auditor. It should be taken at the end of audit, but before signing the report. And what should be the content? Content should be preparation of the financial statements. Management has provided all the information and access as agreed in the terms of audit engagement. You already know terms of audit engagement, terms and conditions. Thereafter, all transactions have been recorded and reflected and as required by the auditor according to the standards. Written representation shall be for all the financial statements and the period whichever is referred in auditor's report. Come on, yeah, manageable, yeah. Thereafter, reliability. I told you that they do not provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence on their own about any matters. It can never substitute verification. Even if the management has provided you, it does not affect the nature and extent of other audit evidence. You have to obtain that. Means even if the management give you that where verification is possible, you have to do verification. That does not mean you don't do other audit procedures which were required. That is a mean. Thereafter, management's refusal. If they tell you no, you write down point number 1 here. This becomes 2, this becomes 3, this becomes 4. One is inquire with the management and know the reasons for refusal. That is always the first step. Thereafter, discuss matter with TCWG, reevaluate integrity of the management, whether now you should rely on them or not. Then take appropriate actions, possible effect on auditor's opinion. This disclaimer and opinion I will tell you later when I do chapter on auditor's report, not now. Doubt over the reliability. What can create doubt over the reliability? These two things can create doubt over the reliability. Firstly, if the auditor has concerns about the competence, integrity, and ethical values of the management, it means management only is not reliable. Acha. Thereafter, if written representations are inconsistent with other audit evidence. You understand inconsistency? Supposing in the balance sheet it is written 1 lakh stock, but they give me a written representation of 80,000. Think and answer. It means, is it consistent information? No. Is it inconsistent? Yes. Will you rely on that? No. Will you have doubts? Yes. Acha, supposing if you have doubt like this, then what do? You sit down or you again try to resolve it? You try to resolve it by doing something more, no? So then what do? You do PAP. So if that happens, then auditor shall perform alternate audit procedures to resolve the matter, resolve the doubt. That is why is there inconsistency. And obviously, if auditor concludes that written representations are not reliable, auditor will have possible effect on his opinion. Come on, yeah, done, yeah. Very manageable standard auditing, but really very important one, because many number of times whenever it is not possible for the auditor to obtain proper information, then definitely from the management what he is going to obtain is a written representation. So this you should always remember in any of the situations, worst to worst scenario, at least take a written representation from the management. Okay, shall we go ahead? And then we have the last one for the day, which is SA 570. First find that, then I'll explain you entirely. It will be there below only somewhere. Going concern, point 10, page 89. Okay, now listen. When you talk about SA 570, now just pay attention. Let me explain entirely. It is on going concern. Now this is not new to you, yeah. Can I say going concern, accounting standard one? Hello, fundamental accounting assumption, correct? Acha, now listen, what do you mean by going concern? Can I say basically it is continuity? Can I say continuity of the business? When? In the foreseeable future, because that is the only English which you people know too much. Correct. So, so if you can see your business going in the foreseeable future, then ultimately we say it is a going concern. Can you tell me what is foreseeable future? It should be at least greater than or equal to 12 months. So if you see your business in the future of at least 12 months from now, then we say that your business is a going concern. Now do you understand? Acha, now think and answer. Think and answer. When I talk about going concern, can I say whether the business is a going concern or not? This information is definitely relevant. Can I say it is definitely relevant from the investor's perspective? Why? I'm talking about investors. I'm not talking about traders. When I talk about investors, I hope as biggest investors, we are talking about all the shareholders. If you people appreciate, the shareholders have invested in the business, obviously thinking that business is there. Now, if business only will cease to exist, then I hope it is not a going concern. No? Then if the investors get in the year information that, oh, business is not a going concern, then ultimately I hope as investors will panic. And therefore, then what they will do is they will basically sell all their holdings, because I hope as they are holding it because it is a going concern. But if it is not only going to hold in the future, why to hold the shares? It is better to sell off the shares, take the money, whatever you are getting. So ultimately, if the shareholders or investors get the information that correct, company is not a going concern, they will normally nothing but liquidate their holding. All cool? Now, think and answer. Can I say it is one of the fundamental accounting assumptions? Correct? How many are there? Three. Going concern, consistency, accrual. Going concern, continuity, consistency, accounting policy should be followed consistently, accrual basis of accounting. Now think and answer. Who will follow these fundamental accounting assumptions, including going concern? Who will follow, comply? Auditor or management? Correct. Can I say who will follow is management? Array dash, these fundamental accounting assumptions are to be followed when you are making what? Financial statement. Who makes financial statements, Baba? Management. So who has to follow that FAA? Management. Will the auditor follow? No. Array auditor just will check that whether management has followed or not. Here we are focusing on what? Going concern. So obviously auditor will have to check whether management has followed going concern or not, whether ultimately company is actually a going concern or not. Now, obviously there are two options to it. Which two options? Either the business will be a going concern or there will be some material uncertainty about going concern. Repeating. When you talk about going concern, there are two options. One, either the business is a going concern or there is uncertainty about going concern. It means I hope there is no going concern. So obviously auditor will have to decide whether going concern is there or not. Whether it is there or whether it is not there. In either cases, auditor will have to report. Because if it is there, tell them it is there. Make them nothing but I hope have that confidence in the company. If it is not there, please tell first it is not there. So that ultimately they also know that there is nothing but some doubts over the certainty of the company. Now, before even I go to tell you further that how will the auditor know going concern is there or not? Who is going to decide first about going concern? Management. They have to follow no going concern. So they will make the financial statements on going concern basis, no? Acha. So when the management have decided about going concern, they should keep in the mind something, no? Now, when the management make an assessment of what? Going concern. Firstly, they should consider a minimum period of 12 months. Should it be lesser than 12? No. Can it be greater than 12? Okay. Can it be equal to 12? Okay. Should it be less than that? No. If they have, say, considered a period of 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, is it okay? No. Then auditor will have to tell to the management. Management, your assessment of going concern is based on wrong number of months. Minimum you take 12, then you make an assessment. Can I say management, when they are making assessment, they must have considered information that, okay, we people are going to get sales of this much. We are going to do expenses of this much, purchases of this much. We will have profitability. Ultimately, I hope this business will definitely sustain for another 12 months. So can I say there will be some information on which they have considered going concern? That information should be made available to the auditor. So auditor should also have that same information which management is using to make assessment of going concern. Acha. There may also be nothing but some information which management have, but auditor does not have. Then he should be made aware of. For a simple example, say they have decided after 15 months, they are going to sell the business. So it means after 15 months, there is no going concern, no? They have decided that, no? They will cease the operations. They will stop the operations. They will sell the business. Or then tell that to the auditor. So auditor mentions in his report that, okay, after a period of 15 months, ultimately the management are wanting to cease the operations. They are trying to sell the company. So there will be no going concern. So whatever is the information which ultimately is not given to the auditor, which management know, which they are aware of, auditor also should be made aware of. Come on, yeah. Acha. Obviously, when you are making assessment of going concern, when I say when you are making, management is making. When management is making assessment of going concern, they also have to forecast cash flows. Because obviously cash flows will determine whether going concern is there or not. Because only if you get inflow of the cash flows, you will be able to make all the outflows, all the expenses. Else, how will you do it? And only if this is greater compared to this, only then the business will sustain and become a going concern. No? So can I say they will make a cash flow forecast? But can I say when you make a cash flow forecast, obviously you have considered certain information. What information? You have made cash budget in FM, cash budget chapter. Hello, cash budget chapter was there, na? Debtor will pay you 50% in this month, 50% in the next month. Hello, then ultimately after a period of say some number of months, you want to do some purchase of machinery, purchase of computer, capital expenditure. Then all the expenses are incurred. So you make a cash flow statement, no? Why do you make that cash budget? You make a cash budget to know whether ultimately what will be your cash position in the near future, whether there will be a deficit or there will be a surplus. So make here also no, so that ultimately you know whether going concern is there or Not. But when you are making cash flow forecast, you are considering information. You are making assumptions. Assumptions like you will get that much money from the debtor. Obviously, it can become a bad debt also, but you never know. But you are making assumptions. Auditor just has to check on a reasonable basis whether this information and assumptions are reasonable or not. Who will check? Auditor. Who is making them? Management. Perfect. You understood whatever I told here? Wait, try to understand entirely. First understand this, and then we go to the important question, which I have not touched up till now. Listen. When you talk about going concern, obviously it is nothing but continuity of the business. In other words, it is an information which is relevant to the investors of the company, which is basically the shareholders. Going concern is nothing but continuity of the business in the foreseeable future. Foreseeable future is a minimalistic period of nothing but 12 months. Thereafter, it is one of the fundamental accounting assumptions which is to be followed by the management, checked by the auditor. Now, obviously, auditor has to report whether the business is a going concern or there exists a material uncertainty on going concern. Now, obviously, the assessment of the going concern will be initially made by the management. Auditor will have to check whether the assessment made by the management is proper or not. When ultimately the auditor has to nothing but check that assessment made by the management, auditor has to consider the same period which is considered by the management. So if management have considered say 13 months, 14 months, auditor has to consider the same period. However, if the management have considered a period lesser than 12 months, auditor will have to tell to the management to at least consider a period of 12 months. Thereafter, during this process of making an assessment of going concern, the management considered certain information. The auditor should also be aware of all that information which is considered by the management. However, if there is any information which is available to the management but not told to the auditor, like selling of the business, then ultimately that information auditor should has to be made aware about. Thereafter, when you are making an assessment of going concern, obviously one assessment comes through cash flow forecast. Basically, that cash flow forecast is made by the management. Management obviously have made relevant information and have made relevant assumptions during making that cash flow forecast. Auditor will have to check whether that information used and the assumptions which are made by the management, whether they are reasonable or not. They will never be 100% sure. They will never be 100% correct, but at least they should be reasonable. How will he come to know? Obviously, he will come to know on basically the past cash flow statements, past cash budgets, whether that information is nothing but reasonable or not. All goals? Okay, fair enough. Now they're like, it was nice. We enjoyed. Acha. Now, important is what? Listen, important is I told you, either business will be a going concern or there will be uncertainty about going concern. Do you agree? Now, my simple question to you, how will auditor know that there is no going concern? How will he know? Management will come and tell, we are not going concern. Don't tell. No. How will you come to know sometimes that, okay, it does not seem to be a going concern? Come on, yeah. No evidence means what will make it? Correct. Can I say it will be based on nothing but some information from the financial statements? Based on the financial statements, you will get certain information which will make you believe that there is no going concern, which will, mark this word, which will indicate that there is uncertainty about going concern. Indicator, I'm not talking about certainty, indication. It may happen like this. There is an indication that there may not be a third wave of COVID because we are towards vaccination. It is an indication. There is no guarantee. There is an indication that there will be uncertainty about going concern, but there is no certainty. You understand what I'm telling? Acha. In exams, what do they ask? They ask you this only. Indicators which indicate that there is no certainty about going concern. Now, 1-2 indicators I'm telling, then we are going to do in detail. Too many losses, negative cash flows, too much loan you have taken, which you have to repay, but you don't have the money to repay. You are like a beggar. Ultimately, I hope realize the market which you people belong to, that market is lost. You had the business initially, but now you don't have. Like I hope realize portable radios initially, big were there. Now there is no market. Floppy disk, CDs, etc. Say you are doing business on a certain license, but now that license is only cancelled. So now you cannot do that business. So your business is not a going concern. It is just going. You understand what I'm telling? So ultimately, they will ask you in exam indicators which indicate that going concern is not appropriate. Now, come to the textbook. Let us mark. Wait, I've already kept it ready for the batch. We'll do it from here. Wait. Too many batches here to keep it open. I don't know sometimes which batch what, but then this at least I know. Arey yaar, Rahul yaar. Sorry yaar. It's okay. La na 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 na. देख लो इधर तो. See, going concern. Indicators we are going to do. First, see this much. Oi. Meaning, obviously, under going concern basis of accounting, financial statements are prepared under the assumption that entity is a going concern and will continue its operations in the foreseeable future. That is minimum 12 months. That is at least one more accounting period. You write down that minimum 12 months. Thereafter, what is the auditor's responsibility? To check and to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to conclude that management's use of going concern is proper when they are making financial statements, and to conclude that audit evidence obtained that there is a uncertainty about going concern. See, there is material uncertainty about going concern. Indicators I was telling you now, they ask you. That we'll discuss shortly. Okay, don't worry. Let us first see this part. See, audit procedures to evaluate feasibility of management's assessment. Wait, who is making assessment? Management. Who is checking? Auditor. That whether their assessment is proper or not. Can I say auditor should cover the same period? If not, at least 12 months should be there. Then they should tell to take 12 months. Come on, mark it, read it. Shut. Dania. Shall I go ahead? Okay, see. Next are basically nothing but these indicators which are important. Indicators, let us discuss now. This is only important part. The indicators are basically divided into three categories: financial, operating, and others. In examination, I have seen they normally don't ask you only financial, only operating, or only others. They just ask you indicators. So you are free to write any indicators. Okay. Whatever I have ticked are my favorite indicators. Obviously, you don't have to learn everything, but these are my favorite, which I like. However, we are going to understand every of them. Okay. So just focus here. First is net liability or net current liability position. What do you mean by this? It means, can I say your liability is basically greater than all your assets? It means net liability position. Na? It means when you do asset minus liability, you get a negative number. So obviously it means liabilities are more. So you have to pay more than what you have. So obviously it indicates there is uncertainty about going concern. Okay. Next is check fixed term borrowing approaching maturity. It means loan you had taken, but you have to pay now without realistic prospects of renewal or repayment. So you are unable to get more time to pay, or ultimately you don't have enough money to pay, or excessive reliance on short-term borrowings to finance long-term assets. In other words, you bought a fixed asset by taking a short-term loan. Now, obviously, this is short-term loan, so you have to pay now. But say you don't have enough money to pay, but this is your long-term asset. Now, if you don't have enough money to pay, eventually you will sell your long-term asset to pay it. Now, when you sell long-term asset to pay it, now you don't have that long-term asset only, which was generating business for you. So eventually business will not be there. Going concern is not there. I hope you followed. Next, indication of withdrawal of financial support by creditors. The ones who were lending you money, they have also stopped lending now. Now, if they stop lending, you're not going to get money. Business may suffer. No going concern. Negative operating cash flows. Come on, this is simple. Yeah. If your cash flows are only negative, it indicates no going concern. Adverse key financial ratio. Now, what do you mean by this? Take a simple example. Already your ratio analysis have been done in FM. Current ratio. What is the standard? 2:1. It means for every 1 rupee of current liability, company should have 2 rupees of current asset. Say they have reverse. 1:2. For every 2 rupee of current liability, they have only 1 rupee of current asset. Ayo, use common sense. Can I say ultimately this is more liability than assets? No, again. So since it is adverse, it indicates there is no going concern. Next, substantial operating losses or significant deterioration in the value of the assets used to generate them. So ultimately, if there is huge losses, it indicates no going concern. Or you have many assets, but they have lost their value and they have lost too much value. Even if you go to sell them, you're not going to generate anything. Then use common sense. Are you going to get too much money? No. So is there money enough to sustain? No. Since there is no money enough to sustain, at the end you may have to sell your business. If you sell your business, there is no going concern. All cools? Acha. Next, operating. These are the best ones. Management's intention to liquidate, that is sell the entity, or to cease operation. Cease, stop. If the management only wants to, don't do the works, then how can you do the works? Can I say ultimately no business, no going concern? It's just a concern now. Acha. Loss of key management without replacement. See, now you think like this. Say there was one person who was handling the work properly. Okay. But say ultimately, no, I'm just explaining. Are yaar? Not bad, yeah. Understanding, huh? But say now that person is not there. Will the work be carried out like that properly now? No. See? So eventually, can I say going concern will not be there? Okay. Next, loss of major market. I already gave you an example. There were floppy disks, there were CDs, etc. Obviously, now it has become online. So obviously, they have lost market. So supposing if I was in the market of making CDs, I hope is now my market, my business is only not there. So obviously now the business is not a going concern. In fact, I don't know whether you are aware. Now those CDs and floppies basically are shown as art effects in cafes, etc. You go to some cafes, etc. Sometimes they are hanging from the ceiling. You know, sometimes I just wish to see what is there in the CD. Take out and see, bloody something interesting or what. I know. Are yaar? Are? Why your brain only works like that? Acha. Say loss of key customer. Now, what do you mean by this? Think like this. Say turnover of the company is 10 crores. But 85% of that turnover, that is 8.5 crores, comes only from one customer. It means he's such a big customer. Now, say that customer only goes away. It means 85% of the business is gone. It means eventually, I hope your business has suffered majorly. And if that customer or such a customer does not come back, your business is not coming to that level. So ultimately, your business may not be a going concern. I hope you're following here. Okay. Loss of franchisee. Come on here. Loss of license. Say supposing telecom license, aviation license, if ultimately I hope TRAI cancels it, DGCA cancels it, then that particular airline cannot continue, that particular telecom business cannot continue, so no going concern. Or principal supplier is only lost. For a simple example, ultimately I wanted raw materials, but that raw material only one particular supplier used to give me, but that supplier only is not there now. So ultimately, if that supplier is not there, where will I get supplies from? There is a problem. I hope you're following. Okay. Then labor difficulties. Labor difficulties is so simple. You people have workers, you have laborers, but they're on strike. They're relaxing. They're playing Teen Patti. They're playing cards. Use common. They're playing cards. Now what will you do? Business is not a going concern. I hope it is. The days pass. They are there doing nothing. Business is stopped. Losses only. In fact, you people are now thinking to play with them to earn something. You use common sense. There's no going concern. It's just a concern. Even I enjoy playing poker also. Acha, next is shortage of important supplies. Acha, supplies word is there or not there? If it is not there, you write down. Huh? What do I mean by shortage of important supplies? To make vaccine, you require raw materials. Now I hope India wanted raw materials from US. Initially, I hope they did not, but later on they give, because ultimately there is a huge community of India in US. Now I hope till the time that ultimately that particular raw material did not come, we people were unable to process the vaccination manufacturing. Now I hope if I don't get that only, will I be able to manufacture? No. So will it be a going concern? No. So ultimately, if there is a shortage of supply, it may not be a going concern. Do you follow? Okay. Lastly, others are nonsensical. I mean, okay. Non-compliance with any capital or statutory or legal requirements. Arey, come on, yeah. If you don't follow legal requirements, then obviously, if there are cases against you, they may only tell you on legal grounds you're not following law. So obviously, we will not let you run your business. Business is not a going concern. Next, pending. This is nice, huh? Second one. Pending legal or statutory proceedings against the entity, which may, if successful, result in claims that the entity is unlikely to satisfy. You understood the meaning? Say, supposing against the company, somebody did a case, okay, and say they have claimed damages of 50 crore rupees. But if you sell the business, no, you will only get 5 crores. They have claimed damages of 50. But if you lose, you'll have to pay 50. But you have only 5. Now, if you have only 5, you have to settle 50. Even if you sell your business, is your business going to go in the future? No. So if you lose, you'll have to sell your business. Thanks for coming. Acha. Next, changes in law or regulation or government policy expected to adversely affect the entity. Simple example, GST. It adversely affected many businesses. Similarly, if I tell you that ultimately, say, rate of excise, etc., is increased adversely. Hello. For a simple example on cigarettes, etc. Ultimately, if I tell you, okay, too much excise duty is there now. So ultimately, because of that, what will happen? The prices of cigarettes will increase. Prices of cigarette will increase. Selling prices will increase. Ultimately, sales may reduce. Theoretically, that is supposed to happen. Practically, it does not happen. Government is very smart. They know that ultimately the ones who are addicted to it, they are going to buy it only, even if they increase the rate. So ultimately, government think that they are doing in public interest. They think that increasing that excise duty too much on that particular cigarette will increase the price, then increase the selling price, because obviously companies have to earn. If you increase the selling price, they think that, okay, now the customer will not buy, thinking that so much selling price is there, I cannot afford. So they think it is unaffordable for the normal customer. But still the ones who are addicted, they will always buy. So ultimately, eventually they are paying up more to the government. And government ultimately, what they tell, we to issued in public interest. So ultimately it is adversely affecting. So it may not be a going concern. And lastly, uninsured or underinsured catastrophes when they occur. What is catastrophe? Disaster. For a simple example, loss due to fire, theft, storm, cyclone, which came a while back, which I made you hear also. Like that. You understand uninsured, underinsured, no? Supposing I hope you had a go down and say now there is a cyclone approaching your go down. Goods are there, but ultimately goods are destroyed. But you did not insure the goods. So ultimately, can I say now this is a loss to you? But say major goods were there only. Now you don't have any money to buy the goods. So can I say thanks for coming? Correct. So ultimately, I hope, guys, these are nothing but your indicators. Can I say they are simple? Yeah. They're interesting also. For this, you get 6 marks. It is bonus. Yeah. Yeah. I have marked mine. You are free to mark mine or yours. Your wish. For this, you want clear. Mad. This much you can't remember. Yeah. तेरे नाम का बना दे, मैं तो बोलता हूँ बनेगा, देख किधर ना किधर ऐसा बन जाएगा. ट्राई कर. पता नहीं. Hey, come on, yeah, done, yeah. Okay. So what we did today was nothing but chapter number 2. In that we did strategy, we did planning, and we did programming, audit program. Audit program disadvantages were very important. Planning, basically 3 types of questions were there. Planning benefits was there. Planning is not a discrete phase, it's a continuous process, goes on and on. Thereafter, the factors on which the plan should be based. There were many factors. Out of that, I gave you my selection. In that, I made a group: joint auditors, internal auditors, other auditors, then experts. Apart from that, nature of evidence obtained, accounting policies follow, statutory requirements, any changes or pronouncements, if any. So terms of engagement. So there were many points. Okay, just like that, I told you 10 of them. Apart from that, strategy, ultimately the main thing to remember was resources. I hope it is when there is a short note on strategy, it actually is an overall layout of the plan. Basically, what resources to use, thereafter how much resources to use, when the resources to be deployed, and how to manage the resources. So you have to have hold a meetings, etc., to know the progress of it. Thereafter, the factors on which the strategy depends. So there was considerations characteristics of the business, then ultimately the significant factors, nature, timing, extent of resources which are to be used, and there was one more which I have forgotten. There were 4. Yeah, try to remember. Yeah, see here, reporting requirements, second one. Okay. Thereafter, ultimately, when you talk about that was strategy done. Relationship, they are interrelated. Change in one will always bring a change in the other. Then what you have to document, you have to document strategy, you have to document planning, and you have to document the change and the reasons why you changed. Thereafter, revision, is the change possible? Yes. If there is a change in any condition, there is situation or any information becomes known to you, then you can definitely change the strategy. If you change the strategy, there will be a change in plan. Thereafter, we did programming. I hope the points are same as planning, benefits are same as planning, because programming and planning are same. See here also I've written same only, basically. Acha, only thing that you have to remember are disadvantages. 4 disadvantages. I hope the 4 disadvantages: rigid and inflexible, mechanical, so it lacks creativity, inefficient assistant takes shelter. Remember like this, and it kills initiative of efficient assistant. After we had finished that, we people went to representation, SA 580. Auditor takes it from the management. So auditor request, management gives on the letterhead of the management only, addressed to the auditor towards the end of audit before signing the report. It is not financial statements, not books of accounts. It does not substitute verification, not that reliable, just a supporting evidence. It's a supporting actor. Thereafter, if they tell you no, you inquire with the management, talk to TCWG, impact on opinion. Thereafter, what are the matters? Basically, I hope it is presentation of the financial statements, information obtained, knowledge, and thereafter any other evidence which the auditor wants. Okay. Apart from that, we did SA 570, going concern. Management will make an estimate of going concern assessment. Auditor has to check whether assessment is proper or not. Should be minimum 12 months. If not, the auditor should tell them to take minimum 12 months. Should be made aware of all information. If not, then tell the information, make them aware of. Check the cash flow forecast. The information used in that is proper or not. The assumptions made by the management are proper or not. And there are indicators which indicate uncertainty about going concern. Indicators are financial, operating, and others. Basically, operating are very simple: loss of major market. Blah, 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 blah. Others are very statutory requirements, pending legal cases, underinsured, uninsured catastrophes when they occur. All cools? Okay, that's it then. Go enjoy, have your lunch. I'll see you the next time. Cheers, yeah. Hana, solid it was, I know. Same one company. Yes, yes. भाई यार ठीक है यार. I hope you have good luck also in life, just like I did at final CA.